Hello, you're in Pablo Spot. I'm George. Today, I'm going to show you how to knit. I'm just joking. Welcome to a new series where I explore all the necessary steps to integrate my AWS Single Sign-On with Okta. On this episode, I will be working on all the steps to prepare my infrastructure code for this integration. And so if this series and the content of this channel lines up with your interests, hit the subscribe button and join me in this journey of learning by doing. So, let's get into it. The first thing that I need to do is create a free Okta developer account. So on my web browser, I'm going to head to okta.com/developers. And then from this page, I'm going to click sign up for free. This page will provide options on signing up to either using a GitHub account or Google account. So you can follow through this workflow until you get your free developer account created. Once you have your account created, you will be provided with a URL that allows you to access the administrator dashboard for your Okta developer account. This URL starts with dev and then some digits and then okta.com. The string that starts with dev and some digits is your organization name. So let me go ahead and open this dashboard using the account that I used to sign up. Once logged in successfully, I need to create a token that I can use with Terraform. So on the left panel, click on security, and then click on API, and on the API page, click on the Tokens tab, and then click Create Token button. I'm going to label this token as Terraform API token, and then click Create Token. Make sure to store this token in a safe place. And now that I have a token that I can work with, I'll start writing up the infrastructure code for my Okta resources. So let me head to my terminal session. I will create a new directory here and call it Okta with AWS SSO. I will initialize Git inside this directory. And then I'm going to run my script to initialize my Terraform templates. And then I'm going to launch my VS Code from here to start the actual work. What I need to do next is update my backend.tf to configure my Terraform Cloud workspace. So on my backend.tf, and then I need to create my infrastructure resources to store my Okta details into parameter store in Systems Manager. So let me open my main.tf and define a new set of SSM parameter resources. So let me start with resource for my Okta base URL. The first property that I need to set for this resource is the name property. I'm going to set the value of this property to a path. I normally follow a standard where I start with /tool or /app, followed by the application name and the actual string name that I'm storing. I will also set the type of this string to just a normal string. And for the value property, I will pull the source of the value from a variable. I need to go and define this inside my variables.tf. I will also set a default property for this variable and set it to unset. So back to my main.tf. To ensure that the value of my parameter store does not get overwritten by any changes to the input variable, I will add a lifecycle block on this resource. Inside this lifecycle block, I will introduce a new property called ignore changes and define all the parameters that I want ignored. And now, I will replicate this SSM parameter resource 3 times for each of the Okta values that I need to store. Let me go ahead and update the second resource block. So I'll change the name of this resource and call it Okta org name. And then I will change the name of the parameter from base URL to org name. I will keep the type the same, but I will change the source of my value property to a different variable. And then I need to define this inside my variables.tf. And like my previous variable, I'll set a default value and set it to unset. Back to my main.tf. I'll go ahead and update the final SSM parameter resource. So I'm going to change the name and call it Okta token. And then change the name of this resource from base URL to token. Because the value of this parameter is sensitive, I'm going to change the type from string to secure string. And then I'm going to change the source of my value property to a different variable. And because this is a new variable, I need to define this inside my variables.tf as well. And then set a default value for this variable. Before I proceed with the next step, I know that there will always be a standard Okta base URL. So on my Okta base URL variable, I will replace the default value from unset to the standard value, which is usually okta.com. What I will do next is spin up the relevant infrastructure resources I have written so far. So let me switch to my VS Code terminal and prepare for running Terraform commands. So the first thing that I need to do is run my scripts to set up my Terraform workspace. Now that I have a Terraform workspace created, let me go ahead and set up my AWS credentials. And now I'm gonna start running my usual Terraform commands. And when I run my Terraform plan, I will make sure that I will provide the actual values of the input variables that I've set. So it will be like this. So the first input variable that I need to set is the Okta org name. And then I also need to pass my Okta token. As the output indicates, I will be creating 3 new resources that will be used to store relevant Okta information in AWS using parameter store in Systems Manager. So let me go ahead and apply this. Terraform apply is successful, which also means all my Okta parameter store values are now persisted. So what if I run my Terraform plan without passing any variable values in my command line? Remember, I set the default values to unset for 2 of my input variables. So if I run my Terraform plan, you would think that the result would say that 2 resources will change. So let's have a look. It may sound very strange, but the Terraform plan result tells me that nothing will change. The reason for this is the lifecycle block that I have set up in each of the resources. So let me go back to my code to digest this a little bit further. If I head to my main.tf, in each of the SSM parameter resource blocks, I have set a lifecycle block. And inside this lifecycle block is an ignore changes property. What this does is it will tell Terraform to ignore changes to the properties I set inside the list. In my case, I instructed Terraform to ignore changes to the value property. If I remove this lifecycle block, I'm essentially telling Terraform to pick up changes to my value property as a change to my resource. So let's see this in action. So let me go ahead and comment this out. And then switch to my VS Code terminal, and then rerun my Terraform plan. Unlike what we saw previously, my Terraform plan result now tells me that I've got 1 resource that will change. And this is because I'm trying to change the value of my Okta token from the actual token to the string unset. And that's all I have for today. Stay tuned as I continue with the rest of the steps that I need to implement to integrate my AWS Single Sign with Okta. In the meantime, let me know your thoughts in the comments below and send me some likes if you find this useful. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you like the content on this channel. Until next time, keep learning and stay safe. See ya.